My name is Lynn, and I am studying to become a BCBA, so that's where this series is going. I would like to explain specifically how to become a BCBA, because obviously it's quite a bit of a daunting task. Once you have your bachelor's in psych or relative field to go into being an RBT or to just being any sort of therapist within the field, be it occupational or behavioral, and you decide to go be your BCBA. I already discussed the three main components in our last video of fieldwork, coursework, and degree. I decided to start this whole trek by asking around. I am currently attending Florida Institute of Technology. They are world-renowned, as far as I understand, as being one of the better programs for behavioral analysis, which is what I'm taking my master's course in. The way I got there is I basically asked my most trusted supervisors where they suggested I go. I asked every manager that I know, because most managers need to have some experience in coursework to become a manager. Technically, I qualify at the moment. And all of them said, even when they went to other schools, they all suggested FIT, because they were like, I went to this school, but it really wasn't that great. I don't feel prepared to take the exam. I don't feel like it's preparing me well. Everyone I know who's been to Florida Tech has kind of like gone with flying colors. It has a really high pass rate. The guy who started the program, Dr. Jose Martinez, he actually was on the BACB board. He was part of that, and then he decided hey, I want to do this. He's a very prominent foundational character within the world of ABA, which is applied behavioral analysis, which is what I'm jumping into. That being said, I attempted to start in the beginning of 2020. It didn't really work out all too well, because I was actually going to apply to St. Cloud over in Michigan, I believe, and I was unable to get everything that I needed, unfortunately, for that deadline. So then I decided to hold off and reevaluate everything I needed. And then the pandemic happened. So then what happened there was the GRE that's required for most programs, including Florida Institute of Technology, was then postponed. They basically said, you don't have to have a GRE in order to apply for our master's program in ABA. And because of that, that was kind of a blessing in disguise for this whole pandemic. I elected to go ahead and move forward with Florida Institute instead, the GRE being kind of a prohibitive factor in that decision. I should explain that most places provide online only master's programs, because they understand that people are attending from everywhere in the world. For instance, in my own class, I have people from Brazil and Canada who are in my class, and that should show they need to have it pretty much online almost exclusively, because people are trying everywhere. This is not an issue that is only handled just in the United States. In fact, one of the most prominent schools as well is located, I believe, in Scotland or Ireland, one of the two, I apologize. But it definitely shows that there's a strong prominence that needs to be addressed everywhere. So a lot of them will offer online only or hybrid if you were lucky to live there. That's how I came to decide to go to Florida Institute of Technology. They also have a very rigorous overall program that's in tandem with how they put all their materials together. So as I said, the founder of the program is also one of the professors, and he makes sure that all of his students are given the correct items. So for instance, they offer an organizer that's also an hours tracker that helps you maintain a lot of different aspects within your path of maintaining your BCBA certification. So it's not just, here's a bunch of books, here's a bunch of schoolwork, get your stuff done. It's we understand you're gonna need to track your field work. You're gonna need to track your hours. You're gonna need to track what types of hours you have in there. So they customized essentially a lot of materials in order to try and address those issues and address all the things that we're going to need to do. That was another big step up for Florida Institute. I am currently, as of filming, on Unit 5 of my classes, and my expectations versus reality are pretty on point. I attend one main class a week, and I have to self-maintain another class that has no meetings. My online class is just the professor and slides. There's a chat feature which all of us participate in as students, but for the most part, it's really just individualized. It's very similar actually to how fieldwork is also run. Not that it's online, but fieldwork is very individualized essentially. When I work with a client, I am one-on-one, generally speaking. I might have a supervisor overseeing what I'm doing every now and again, but it's definitely not that consistent. The way I run things is I'm given my work, so given my classwork in vein of coursework, and then I apply it to where I need to as with how I've been trained. With the classwork, it's very much I'm given my lectures that are all pre-recorded, I'm given my homework essentially, and then I just have to answer it with how I've been learning from the pre-recorded lectures. So it's fairly easy. My professors are fairly knowledgeable. I'm very active on the discussion boards, which are very helpful considering how many people are in the program. I think I saw well over 200 or 300 responses in the nice to meet you discussion board. So there's definitely a lot of people, and they have quite a bit of assistant professors that respond as well. So it's always active. There's always, like people are always answering questions and providing a lot of different perspectives on how to approach different aspects in each module. I do kind of wish that some of my professors kind of had a better grasp of how to streamline certain items. Like the best way that I can describe it is actually how Dr. Jose Martinez described it is you're learning a new language, but it's not that there are new components. It's that you are relearning how you are currently understanding certain words. We understand a lot of different things like punishment, reinforcer, conditioning, things like that. But how we approach it as a behavioral analyst is very different. How we understand and use these words, even words as simple as reflex, actually has a different meaning than how lay people use it. We have to understand when we type our reports, when we write things down, how we use the word every day is not how we're supposed to intend them in our writings. So it's a very pedantic exercise every unit. It's very interesting to see what terms are being changed, so to speak, or at least how you have to see them in a different light because we're approaching them from the school of thought and not just from the standard connotations that we're used to every day. It's a great challenge and I'm enjoying it. It's really interesting to say the least. There are plenty of times where a lot of the things I've learned in my past 4 years of experience in my field work have really shown and bled into a lot of the units. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember learning that in like this meeting. Oh, I recall them mentioning like, oh yeah, this is how this is supposed to be run. So it's nice to see that in my field work, I got kind of a gloss over, right? Because I'm an RBT, I'm not studying to be a BCBA, so to speak, according to my company. And so I'm only taught what I need to know, which is considered my scope of practice. I'm not expected to come up with programs or anything like that. That would be out of my scope and unethical to do. So they only teach me what I'm expected to know or talk to me like I know those things because I've been trained. And then to see the nitty-gritty, to see the full details behind the items I've been taught has been really interesting, and I've been able to apply a lot of what I'm learning into my work. So it's really good that they go hand in hand, and that's really what they intend. A lot of my fellow classmates, as we learned, really have I'm working with a lot of fellow RBTs, a lot of fellow even supervisors and managers as well, as I found out. So it's a very interesting process so far. All things said and done, I think that we're gonna see how the next few semesters go, but for right now, for the next video, I'll probably break down a bit more intricacies of some of the topics that we are covering in our BCBA program, and I'll cover that in the next video.